Thursday, June 15th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Night. Tonight, games involving bidding.
Let's do this.
That's the best I can do with just my hands.
I thought you said you had a...
I do have one. When I was a kid, you see, weird facts from Rim's childhood life.
I can't believe this without any evidence, being all skeptical. And
I lived in Michigan. I can probably find a picture of myself with it. I had one of these stupid plastic trumpets. It was the exact same one they're using in South Africa, or maybe it was the South American one that's slightly crooked. I'm not sure. But it came into my possession when I was in elementary school, and I used to go to arena soccer games a lot in Detroit. And at those games, a lot of people would have those things. And it turned out they sold them at the games next to like the hot dog stand. So I was a trumpet player, and I convinced my parents to buy me one, and I proceeded to be horrifyingly annoying at all of these games forever because I could blow it louder than most people could.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think maybe it's different in places where people have a culture around them and they know how to play them, but people would buy them and then not know how to blow in them. One of my coworkers too. He was like, "What? I thought you just blow."
No.
Yeah.
You gotta go...
Seriously? Fuck those things.
Yeah, I mean, I like traditions and, sporting things like that. That's my style. But, I mean, you got to have something clever. Like, in Europe, they sang a song. Even it could be a clever, dirty song, like, fuck the other team and the ass. Something like that.
Rip.
Yeah, but if you're just basically, you could play a song, like...
But it's just a drone. It just never stops. And it's so loud, it is actually damaging to the hearing of the people in the audience.
Not to mention, there was also speculation that it spreads all kinds of disease around, too. Because everyone's basically spitting on everybody all the time. We'll
see. Apparently, the
BBC... if you only played them when you scored a goal,
Yeah, but here's the thing. So, all right, you got fans of two teams in the arena.
Or basically, like, even if they only played it when the other team had the ball and then stopped playing it when their team had the ball.
But what if you've got half fans of one team and half fans of the other team? That's the problem.
But, I mean, as long as...
what would fix this? If it were anywhere other than South Africa, not enough people would know how to make it make noise. And then we'd be okay. The problem is everyone knows how to use the stupid things down there. The other problem is if they were constructed just slightly differently, it'd be more like a bugle, or you could play like maybe two notes. 2 notes would be enough.
Well, I did hear...
Then you could go do-dee-do-dee-do-dee-do-dee-do.
During some of the games, right, there was some drumming action you could hear, and people, they weren't playing multiple notes, but what they would do is they would stop and start. So it would be like, do-do-do-do-do-do. They play sort of a song on it, along with the drumming section.
Yeah.
But most of the people were just droning nonstop the entire game.
Luckily, the BBC, they're not going to ban these things or anything. It's such a part of like the heritage and the culture of the game down there. But the BBC, I think, said, the coworker told me this, that they're going to stop playing the ambient noise from the game, except at certain situations, and just show the game and then play a commentary track, and that's it. We'll see if that happens.
We will see, because
apparently I saw someone was passing around an MP3.
ESPN hasn't changed anything.
There was some MP3 that some guy was like, it's the anti-sound of the sound, and it'll cancel it out if you play it at the same time.
Oh, snap.
That won't work.
You don't think so?
It'd have to be in the same phase. It wouldn't work at all.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't just like record a sample and then...
No, you'd have to do real-time like frequency analysis.
What if we put the game on like a 2-second delay? We could do it, right?
Yeah, it would not be that hard for some audio engineers to basically cancel that thing out.
I mean, it would mostly cancel. And then what they could do is they could have a little switch and uncancel it at certain moments.
That'd be great. So they score a goal and just... But all that aside,
they could even have a volume knob. Like, how much are we going to cancel it?
Luckily, there are two things to keep.
They can make it louder. They could double it up
to take heart with.
They can move the phase back.
The people playing these are not professional trumpet players. So one, they're cutting the fuck out of their lips and possibly causing permanent nerve damage if they do that too much.
I don't think they care.
Yeah,
just same as people who go to like metal concerts without earplugs. They don't care.
2,
or people who smoke.
A slight tap at the end of one while someone is blowing them will cause extreme pain.
Really?
Yes.
Even like what? How so?
Because basically you've got this thing up against your lips. And if you're not like skilled, like a trumpet player has muscles and embouchure to be able to make the pucker. I mean, I can make the noise without even like having anything around my lips. It's not loud, but it's there. Just so in order to make the noise, if you don't have those muscles, you got to really like push it into your lips. So you've already got a lot of pressure there.
But maybe if these people go to a bunch of games and every game they're playing it nonstop, maybe they built up the.
It's possible. It is possible. The thing is, the more you use pressure, which is kind of like the quick way to make it work, the less you develop the muscles, and then you never really get anywhere. And in fact, you cause permanent nerve damage. So we'll see. Do I only have to put up with this for 1 year?
Yeah, and 4 years.
And if these things
do they decide where it's going to be in
I don't know.
2014?
If these things ever become popular anywhere else in the world, I don't know what to do.
I don't know either.
I don't think anywhere else in the world will bother learning how to make the noise.
I think that pretty much it's like they're using the tradition excuse here, and even so, like a lot of South African people don't even like it, right?
Yep.
And any place in the world where it's not already a tradition, they can just ban them with no questions. There won't be any
Paul
fight.
and Storm actually had the most poignant thing to say about this. I'm paraphrasing here. I never thought I would think back on the days of something as innocuous as Thundersticks and wish we could go back to said days.
Dude, I would take Thundersticks. The thing is, though, Thundersticks, right? They're kind of okay. But imagine if they played the Thundersticks the whole game. Nonstop. Everyone Thundersticked.
They did. Luckily, it was so quiet. Thundersticks are not nearly as loud as an angry hooligan. One hooligan outweighs like 10 Thundersticks. Unless you hit those Thundersticks in perfect unison. Plus, they break, like, right away.
It's true.
But over the weekend, I just want to mention this because it was totally awesome. And we'll probably talk about it later. Maybe I'll do a show with Emily. I want to have a board game con or a board game get-together at a Korean spa.
I don't think that'll work. Won't the board games get all wet?
No. So Emily and I, over the weekend, to try this out, went to a Korean, like, traditional bathhouse. Spa Castle out by Flushing in, like, College Point.
All right.
So the way this works, really quick here, it's kind of awesome. So you go in, and men and women go to separate areas. You get a locker. I get a little watch with an RFID in it that opens all the different lockers and things. And it's nice and high tech. And you take a traditional Korean bath, which is a lot like the Chinese baths in the shower, or even a Japanese bath. So they've got hot tubs, like super hot tubs and cold tubs, and you take the bath and shower. You got to be naked with all your, all the other guys, but that's just the way it works.
A lot of old nasty guys in there?
Actually, you know what's weird? I don't know. Emily said the women's side was mostly just like older Korean ladies and like office ladies.
That's what I would assume, be old people.
On the guys' side, it was like 2/3. It might as well have been packs. It was like tattooed, normal gamer-looking guys. Yeah, like people like me.
All right.
And then like a bunch of Korean, really old guys with their balls out. But
yeah, that's what I expect mostly to be in those kind of places.
But it was mostly like you chill, you hang out, like they're talking and playing games, and it's really relaxing. And they got like a sleeping area and a TV area. But then once you're all showered and clean and hot tub, you get in the this uniform, and you go up to the second floor. Now it's co-ed, men and women, and there's tables and chairs and lounges and saunas and food and restaurants and all this stuff. But you're all just barefoot hanging out. You all just spa'd for an hour or two and bathed. And it would totally be awesome to spend a whole day there, like playing board games.
Why? I mean, like, the thing is, like, what's the point of the hanging out part? I mean, you could just go and take the bath and go home and hang out.
Well, that's part of the traditional bath ideas. You go, it's part of the community. Like, you hang out with people.
I mean, maybe if there was some cricket battles up there,
there's the equivalent. Plus, you go up to the third floor, also co-ed, whole bunch of pools. And bar pools.
I imagine they're not naked pools.
No, only the gender-separated areas are the only naked pools.
Man, we need some co-ed naked pools.
Yeah, I guess we could do that.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
But I don't know. I could foresee. If you don't want to come, you don't have to come. But I think I'm going to organize some sort of crew get-together at this place because it was pretty badass.
I got to go I made the doctor's appointment. I go to the doctor before I can do any pools.
Oh?
I got some kind of fungus reappearing.
That is not what I wanted to know. Wait, really?
Yeah.
What? Oh, God. Like where?
On my back somewhere.
Huh.
That's why I didn't notice it.
Wait a minute. But you always say like you've never had a fungus. Like you never.
I had one fungus. Now I have two funguses.
Okay. That didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let me know when that's done and gone.
Well, the doctor didn't give me an appointment until like July, so it's like,
Yeah, I don't know if you should go to the Naked Spa Castle and risk spreading your fungus to people like me.
I don't think it's a spreading fungus. I think it's a one-person fungus.
Okay, so video games.
Yeah, it's the E3s, huh?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I was gonna make a joke like, I forgot about E3. I really did forget about E3 until the news started coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a big lead up going on.
I was at work, because E3 is no longer like a fan convention. Like,
it never was a fan. Well, I mean,
it was, but not. It shouldn't have been.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? Is the E3 was basically the only video gaming thing, so everyone snuck their way in, and they technically didn't let fans in, but they appealed to fans and the kind of things they had there. And then they shut down, and then they sort of came back, and now they think they've managed to make it a non-fan industry-only thing, mostly because things like PAX have taken the load off for them.
Yeah, PAX is everything. Like, it has everything I would have ever wanted out of E3, because the only other thing to get out of E3, well, I guess two things are hobnobbing with industry people, if that's the sort of thing you need to do, and getting all the news I can just see on Kotaku.
Yeah, so really what E3 is all about now is basically Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo all have press conferences at the same time.
And that's pretty much it. But
I guess other people, like EA and Activision, right? But pretty much that's all it is everyone at this time, we're going to all do our thing at once. Okay, and they do it. And as a result, there's a whole bunch of announcement type things. I guess we don't want to spend the whole show doing this. Let's cover only the major items.
So, Nintendo made a game.
They made a lot of games.
Yeah, when was the last time a game came out?
I mean, that's the thing, is they've had these same games like on the docket for a long time. Like Golden Sun DS has been, they announced that forever ago.
So
Metroid Other M, they announced that forever ago.
Remember when the Wii came out and they were like, we got this Zelda game that was going to be on the GameCube, but now it's a Wii game. And we were like, okay, I wonder when the real Wii Zelda is going to come out.
Years
and it took
later.
them until now.
And not even. It's going to come out next year.
Yeah.
Maybe even holidays. Holidays 2011 it could be. You don't know.
Why, Nintendo? Why? And
They're
honestly,
just so slow.
Well, it's weird how rapidly Nintendo is just like, I mean, I don't know if they're still printing money. Their sales definitely aren't as high as they were, but the Zelda trailer wasn't even that interesting.
Yeah, it did not look like, it looks like it's probably going to be like somewhere above the, what's the one? The Majora's Mask, but below the other 3D Zeldas, like just judging from the trailer, which is not, an accurate judgment at all. But I don't know,
how could the trailer be so uninspired? Remember when they announced Twilight Princess and like the first trailer came out and everyone was like, all the Twitter, ooh, look at that. Like, it was impressive. It was dark. It was cool. All these things. And this one just looked like another Zelda game.
Yeah, I was actually...
And the music, to be honest, was kind of shitty sounding in the trailer. Like, it sounded really, like, overly synthesized. You'd think by now, they'd have a proper orchestrated soundtrack, but that was crap music.
They, I'm no fan of, like, Metal Gears, really, but actually there was the Metal Gear trailer at the Microsoft thing, and that actually, like, surprisingly impressed me with the cutting.
Yep, well...
Did you see that?
But can love blossom on the battlefield?
I don't know, but I like that cutting action. I was like, whoa, I'm actually legitimately intrigued by your cutting.
It's funny how finally we've got all the effectively Wii knockoffs, like, finally coming to light.
Yeah. I don't know. The Microsoft one is technologically impressive, but it looks to me like... if I bought it, right, and it's going to be like, what, $150?
Yeah.
If I bought it, right, I mean, Wii Sports was fun, right? We played, like, even the newer Wii Sports with the Motion Plus is fun. But it's like, I'm not in college anymore. I don't have a family. So even if I got it, I would play it so rarely,
I think this is, a lot of our listeners actually kind of have commented recently on how rapidly we went from the Wii is the best thing ever to we have Xboxes. And really, it comes down to what we've always said.
Well, go listen. Anyone who says that can go listen to the earliest Geeknights where we say PC gaming is dead.
Yep.
Okay? So.
But no, think about what happened. We no longer have 4 people in the same physical place ready to play a Wii game all the time. As soon as that happened, there's no reason to play a Wii game.
Yeah, I mean, if I was living, in college still or with my family, I would have a completely different, purchasing pattern, of what games I was buying. I mean, I'd have new Mario Brothers. I'd be rocking it with a whole bunch of people all the time. We'd probably, like, stay up playing it for long, hours.
Hey, you know what, though? It's all going to be good because Conrad is going to be living real close to us.
Yeah, but it does, we're already living close and we're not playing a lot of in the same house co-op type things.
Yeah, we're not really trying, though.
No. Well, but yeah, that's like, I don't begrudge anyone though. Like because in our day we had different games, we had DDR, we had Tribes 2, we had Smash Brothers, there were
Counter-Strike,
Mario Tennis,
which I'm still playing every day.
We had the games for parties in our day, and now there's party games of the current day. And the party games of the current day are no good to us because we're not currently in a party situation. But if you are out there listening and you are in a party situation, you're in college, you have family members, siblings to play with, roommates, right? And you want to play video games, hells yeah, Nintendo and Microsoft are providing, awesome stuff for you. You can play freaking that Xbox Sports is looking good if you don't have a Wii. You get some of that, the new Mario Sports or the Mario Volleyball, hockey, that's looking like hot shit, right? It's just no good to me now because I don't have anyone.
Well, to be fair, part of it too is that look at the party games we still really, really like. I mean, WarioWare on the GameCube.
Yeah, but how often do we play it? Would you buy it if it came out today?
I would if it were cheap.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that all these things are actually pretty expensive for what they are. Like Nintendo games never go down in price. That's the only reason I didn't get Mario Galaxy 2 yet because it's still $50. I'm not paying $50.
I don't know. I think part of it more.
The only game that I'm actually looking to actually spend money on are like some Xbox Live Arcade games that are looking cheap, Golden Sun DS, and the Metroid one, and the Kirby one. That's pretty much it.
See, I'm thinking part of it too is just that I never bought the Wii, so it was at your place. I imagined I would bring people over more to play it if it were my place, but I don't want to buy one.
I actually got to send mine in for repairs. The disk drive has got the making a bunch of noise problem.
Uh-oh.
But they'll fix it. I just had to send it in.
So maybe the trick is
and
I just have to start organizing Wii nights and then just tell everyone to show up at your place. Then we show up and use your Wii.
If everyone shows up at my place to use the Wii, I'll go buy a whole bunch of party games and we'll play them all.
I think it's going to happen because what you're forgetting is seasons. What season has it been lately? Nerd NYC's been bringing board games back, so we've had this kind of constant low-level board game season.
I think it's role-playing game season. We got some Dwarf coming up in a couple weeks.
Yep.
It's definitely role-playing season.
I've also had a lot of single-player PC game season. And
it's definitely
Super
been
Street
also
Fighter 4.
single-player season for sure, and also internet play season. I've been playing Civ 4. I've been playing Super Street Fighter 4. Games with the number 4 in them.
Yep.
And then I guess I'm going to play StarCraft 2 when it actually gets released for not beta. And then Civ 5, and then NS2 whenever that happens.
Yeah, we're lucky. I mean, basically, all these games are just to keep us busy until Civ 5 and NS2 come out.
Yeah.
All my eggs are in the NS2 basket.
All right. I mean, there's a lot of items, but we don't have to discuss them all. But we do have to discuss, I guess, the 3DS. That we can't avoid that one, right?
Nah. I don't think I'm going to get one right away.
I don't think so either. I didn't get the DSi, and the 3DS doesn't look like I need it right away either.
There is the Kid Icarus game on it.
Big deal.
But the thing is, it doesn't look like it's a platformer. It looks like a Zelda game.
Nintendo is coming out with a shit ton of platformers for the Wii, so I can get all of those one at a time.
But no, every screenshot of Kid Icarus looks like it is Zelda. Just with a different skin and maybe more action and less, Zelda-y puzzles.
Yeah.
It doesn't look anything like Kid Icarus.
I think they would have been better off with something like the Picross 3D, for the 3DS instead of for the DS.
I don't like Picross.
You suck.
It's kind of lame.
It's better than Sudoku.
Sure. I'll give you that one.
It's the same thing, only better.
I'll give you that straight up.
What do you want?
Also, I do not like... we'll talk about the 3GS once we touch one.
Yeah,
Until
I guess we can't really.
I cannot say.
Yeah, I guess we can't really talk about it because we haven't actually personally experienced the 3D parts of it.
Predictions, though, based on previous Nintendo bullshit. Here are my predictions. Most games will not use the 3D or will use it in uninspired ways.
There won't be a great number of games that are using it in an awesome way. There will be just a couple.
The ones that do will be first party.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so the Wii. Which games really use the Wii for reals? The 2 sports games. And, And which games really use the DSi for reals? The one WarioWare do-it-yourself game. And which games really use the 3DS for reals? Well, the Kid Icarus game and maybe a couple others. They come out with,
I don't think the Kid Icarus game is going to add anything. It's just going to be visual style.
Yeah, that's it.
The thing is, it'll be hard to say.
Here's the thing, though, right? You can adjust the amount of 3D-ness, right? So could I play that game on a regular DS or a DSi? Or will the game only work on the 3DS? They haven't explained any of that.
But if they do that, it's going to be a Game Boy Color situation.
It will be a Game Boy Color situation. The thing is, the graphics on it, regardless of whether they're 3D or not, are vastly like PSP qualities. You know?
Oh yeah,
I really don't think that 3DS games are going to run on non-3DSs.
The thing is, until they have a killer app game for it, and also now that I don't have a commute, I don't need the portable system right away.
That is something that's actually right. It's like all about, determining which games are good or bad is really a lot more about your lifestyle, right? When I was on the train, DS games were the shit. But like a Phoenix Wright or something like that.
I had my DS with me every day.
Nowadays, I'm riding the bike. I can't even put headphones in. I basically deleted like all the Twit Network podcasts because I have no time to listen to them because I'm not even on a subway anymore. On the subway, probably in the winter, I might go back and get some more podcasts again. But now that I'm biking, I'm listening to like only a couple short podcasts, and they pile up quite a bit before I actually listen to them. So DS games are pretty much relegated to like bedtime, and they're competing with books and comic books, which is, whenever there's a competition for like that, it's not going to work out too well.
Yep. We'll see. I'm going to wait too, because Nintendo has a history of making a slightly better version.
Yeah. The other thing is that I have so many unplayed video games. I'm just going to be really slow to buy any more until I finish the ones I got. I'm like really, reeling back.
Well, I'm having that situation.
Anything that does not have immediate multiplayer needs, like NS2, I'm like waiting forever because it'll be $5 on Steam eventually.
All media lately, because the thing what's weird is now that we live in the city, we have a lot more free time. Like I consume way more media than I was before.
Yep.
And yet, media is piling up like in the last 2 months faster than it's ever piled up in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a very recent
And this
trend.
isn't even like counting anything that is illegally obtained. This is only like
I don't pirate anything.
This is like free streaming animes on the internet that are legal. Comic books that I paid for, video games I paid for, piling up books I've paid for. I think about that. Like a book is the worst because you buy a book, it's like $6. And it's going to take you a good week of like reading before bed to finish a book.
I don't know.
And that can
One cat, two cat.
That offsets a lot of other medias.
All right, we should at least mention a couple other things. So Donkey Kong coming back.
It's Donkey Kong. They had a lot of platformers, and the one I'm thinking about is the Kirby one. That looks. I like.
Yeah.
Kirby's a man.
What's weird about Donkey Kong is when Donkey Kong Country first came out, like way back in the day. Like
I never really liked those games that much.
I didn't like it either. I remember everyone I knew lost their shit about that game. So I was like, all right, and I rented it because I didn't buy games unless they were good.
It was all right, but I'm not a huge fan.
It was like an okay platformer with good graphics.
Yeah.
Like it didn't blow me away. I never to this day understood why so many people liked Donkey Kong Country so much.
Donkey Kong 64 was actually all right.
Yeah, it was.
That was all right.
People are talking about Epic Mickey, but there's nothing else like new about that.
Epic Mickey has some good styling, but it seems like it seems to me, based on what I've seen, that it's sort of like going to be some Okami action with the painting and unpainting.
Yeah.
A lot of manual labor. And it also seems to me like, remember Mario Sunshine, where it has like cool parts, but the whole game isn't cool parts, right? Like they showed a part where it's all side-scrolling Steamboat Willie, but the whole thing isn't clever like that. Most of it is not that.
We'll see.
Someone these people, they're so creative. They come up with like a clever part in a game. Like in Mario Sunshine, there was the old school clever parts.
God, that should have been the game.
That shit, just make that the whole goddamn game. Clever shit. Get rid of the other stuff. Make it only the clever part. And if you come up with just clever part after clever part, pile them on top of each other, one after the other, and make that the whole game. Don't put anything else in there. I actually think the Sonic people, have you seen this Sonic Colors thing?
Yeah.
I think they figured it out after their stupid Sonic Werewolf shit, and it seems like they're making a game that's half the good part of the Sonic Werewolf game and half actual 2D Sonic. They replaced the werewolf with old school, You know, and I think that might actually be something to keep an eyeball on.
If you have a game that has a glue area, because I think the glue area, like once it rose to, or like the center area, or like in Mario Galaxy, like always go back to the home planet, or go back to the fucking time palace, whatever. Anytime you've got something like that, like some kind of meta construct over your game had better be damn good, and that part had better be engaging, or 99% of players are just pissed off every time they're there trying to get to the game again.
Yeah, pretty much.
And last but not least, what do we always say? Why don't they just make a GoldenEye again? And they're making a GoldenEye again.
I never said that.
We said it on the show a bunch of times.
I think that just pretty much this game is not looking
too little, too late.
I don't think this is
out 10 years ago.
I don't think this is looking very promising. I mean, it's going to be a console FPS, which is already bad. It's is it going to be able to compete with the other console
here's
FPSs?
How it could do well. But I don't think
it's
this
depending
is what it's
completely
be.
On the licensed property.
No. It is also depending on nostalgia for the other GoldenEye game.
Yeah.
Here is how it could be a good game. If they made it really, really simple, and they made it pretty much, I think I have a single player, whatever.
The original GoldenEye was real simple.
Exactly. If they made it just an updated version of the original GoldenEye, where the primary purpose of the game is to have 4-player or more straight up direct deathmatch.
But why would you get that when you could get like Halos instead?
I feel like this could be it's like
Halo is pretty much the replaced GoldenEye a long time ago.
Yeah, but if you made this like a cross between that style of game and more like Counter-Strike. Because remember, GoldenEye was much more about ambushing someone and not so much about
Halo and GoldenEye are pretty much the same thing except for the actual theme.
No, I actually disagree. Do you remember playing GoldenEye? It was pretty much strafe and then hit him with the Moonraker laser.
Oh, no, it was more like RCP-90, hold it down.
No, and you had the thing aimed at head level, always.
Yep.
And odd job played, you quit. I don't know. I don't have the nostalgia for GoldenEye. I never liked it as a kid because I had Quake.
I played GoldenEye, at friends' houses, and it was a thing of its day. It wasn't something that was... it wasn't timeless. It's not something you can go back to.
No, it was only good when I played at Bandcamp.
It was something that was good in the moment, at the time,
at Bandcamp,
in the situation.
We couldn't have a LAN, but we could have an N64 and a TV in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
So we played deathmatch late into the night.
Exactly. You go to a friend's house, you'd be like, oh shit, we don't have 4 computers. It's not like, a computer was holy shit, and a lot of people's computers didn't even have 3D yet. But you could have 4 controllers and a, thing, so it was much more accessible. But now, right, you have Steam, so what the hell, and you have Xbox Live, so who wants GoldenEye? Nobody.
But anyway, things of the day. Since GoldenEye is back, supposedly, well, I guess not supposedly, now it's for real. I don't know if anyone saw this. It's an old College Humor thing, but I think Kotaku linked to it, either because they were reminded or something, but College Humor did a pretty good take on GoldenEye. I actually enjoy this quite a bit.
That's it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Just watch it. And if you've never played GoldenEye for the N64, this really isn't funny.
No, okay. So basically, this is a pretty cool thing here. They had it was called the Hayabusa spacecraft, right? And it went like a bajillion miles out into space to like a comet, and it got a sample, and then it came back to Earth, which is pretty ridiculous. 1.25 billion miles. Oh, it went to an asteroid named Itokawa. So this thing, the Japanese set a rocket, and it went, and it went out into space. 1.25 billion miles, right? I guess that's, the total distance round trip. So it must have been 0.75 billion miles away.
It was out for a little over 7 years.
Yeah. 7 years of going through space crazy fast. It got this asteroid and it nibbled off a piece. It came back to Earth and, basically it came back into the Earth and it was coming. And then, of course, there's the re-entry situation. So it had the sample capsule with the sample in it. And that piece has to land safely. But all the other parts, we have to throw them off and get them disintegrated in the air so that, the sample is safe.
It had actually a lander that was going to do something too, but apparently that missed.
Anyway, well, you take what you can get, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than exploding on the launch pad or anything. So here's a video of the re-entry, and usually space videos Like, the fact of what you're seeing is usually really cool, but the visual of what you're seeing is usually not so cool. Usually the video will be like a dot that moves.
Yep.
Right?
Unless you're watching something actually taking off.
Yeah, I mean, rockets are always cool because there's big fire coming out. But like, you watch like a star and it's like a star gets bright and then it disappears or something like that. Or like you see a dot moving across the sky. And there's not usually a lot of visual excitement. Or maybe they'll have to like apply false digital coloring to something to make it exciting because it's a bunch of x-rays or some shit like that. This is actually just straight up video, and it's actually crazy cool the way the re-entry stuff that's, the parts that are not the capsule are disintegrating in the air. It looks like some crazy awesome fireworks.
Yep, and of course the capsule, according to the news here, quote, the capsule was successfully retrieved at 7:08 UTC yesterday.
Yep, it was in the Australian outback, and I guess the Australians let the Japanese take it. They didn't we have your capsule. You're gonna have it back.
Now we will learn the secret of Getter Rays.
Learn the secret of whatever that asteroid is made of, which is probably, I'm willing to bet, rocks. What do you bet?
Ice.
You think it's made of ice and rocks?
There's a lot of ice.
And ice is just a rock, right?
Yeah.
It's just a water rock.
Not really.
How not?
It's a crystal, not a rock. They're very different.
I mean, rocks are, so a geode is not a rock?
Geodude? No, it's comets that are made of ice, not asteroids.
A quartz is not a rock?
Honestly, one thing that springs up, I just want to mention it. There's all this talk about the space program and what we should do. Should we go to Mars, the moon? And a lot of people are complaining that we're kind of backing off of manned space exploration lately. And as a nerd and a geek, unlike many other nerds and geeks, I pretty much say straight up, there's no point in manned space exploration, at least for the next 20 or 30 years.
Unless we develop something such as hibernation or something, to make it more practical. Because really, as soon as you add one person to a spacecraft, right, just the math of it really ruins everything. Because now we need to bring a life support system and a backup life and all this other.
And I got to buy 4 DSs, and then I got to get 4 friends to play the DSs with me.
Right. As soon as you add even one person, you add all this stuff to the rocket, right? And it makes everything incredibly less efficient. Whereas, what's the person doing up in space? Some experiments. We can just automate the experiment, and it'll be so much cheaper just to go put a rocket up there. It does the experiment, it comes back, done.
Well, plus, look at the civilization, for example. You can start researching ironworking right when you get it right away. It's going to take you 20 years. In the meantime, some other civilization just busts out with all these little improvements, and suddenly they've got axemen and all this other stuff, and you're still working on the stupid ironworking to build one swordsman.
Me and Scott Johnson were actually playing Civ 4 co-op yesterday, right? And apparently the way that works is, let's say I'm working on Alphabet, and you're working on horseback riding. I'm just picking 2 things, right? Well, I develop it in the amount of time it takes, and you develop yours in the amount of time it takes. And then, when I'm done, you get what I got. And when you're done, I get what you got. We share all our technology automatically because it's co-op, right? So it's pretty cool. The thing is, we're much better off both researching the same thing at the same time, which means that it takes half the time as it would usually take because we're both contributing our beakers simultaneously. Now, why is that better, right? You think, well, you can get 2 technologies in the same amount of time that you could have gotten, right? You're getting the same amount of technologies per unit time, right? It takes you twice as long, but you get 2, or it takes you half as long and you get 1. The thing is, if you both research at the same time, then you get 1 in half the time, and then you can use that 1 during the second half of the time. Whereas if you get 2 in the longer unit of time, you basically are stuck at your current state the entire duration. So you're basically putting off the bonuses, and it's not...
So yeah, take the analogy, real life, that's my feelings on the space program, at least for now. So, really quick, meta moment.
Oh, meta moment.
Cosmos, the book club, it's done. We're doing
actually going to do it on Thursday, for real.
Unless one of us dies or something, get hit by a truck, I don't know.
Yeah. Mr. Rim, who bailed on when we were going to do it last Thursday.
I was sick.
No, you weren't. You went and did some work shit.
No, I skipped something else for work shit, I think.
No,
we skipped another show. We skipped a
Thursday
Wednesday
night.
We also skipped a Wednesday, remember?
I don't remember skipping.
Yeah.
No, we didn't skip a Wednesday. We did the Pokemans show on Wednesday.
Yeah, but the previous Wednesday we were supposed to do it and we skipped it.
I don't know. It was Thursday and you skipped it for work.
I skipped a Wednesday and a Thursday. One because I was sick and one because of a work thing.
I don't remember skipping a Wednesday. Anyway.
The work thing was getting drunk and having an awesome time, but...
When you're supposed to be doing podcasts.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other meta things?
We're going to announce the next
Kineticon
book
is in
club book.
Yep.
Yep, Kineticon, July 9th, 10th, 11th. Going to be super awesome.
Anything else?
PAX stuff. Very soon we'll probably be able to announce our PAX panels.
Okay, Nerd NYC Recess.
Yes, you should go to that. It is basically a one-day gaming con.
It's on June 19th in Manhattan. Go to nerdnyc.com.
Which is this weekend.
Oh, fuck me. I needed this weekend to do that panel and also prepare some Burning Wheels.
Oh, right. You know what, though? It's only one day.
It is. I'll have to do all that on Sunday. I'm also going to dentist on Friday, so I could do it the rest of the day on Friday. I'm going to spend doing
the dentist, the doctor, you got a lot going on. The Scott machine is wearing down.
Well, I actually, I haven't been to the dentist in too long. I kept, how many years? I've had a to-do list, and I keep putting items on and clearing them off.
For the past 4 months, my phone every day has a reminder in the notification bar. And if I click on that, it says dentist.
And all right. So today I actually did it. I went to the insurance company's website. I clicked find doctor. I called him up. I clicked find dentist. I called him up, and apparently the dentist I'm going to was my mom's dentist when she lived in Queens when she was very young. We're going to find out this old dentist dude. He's probably going to be all cool with me because he's a friend of the family in the olden days. It'd be cool.
All right. Yeah, I don't think we have anything else on that front.
Nope.
Still working on video. Got a lot of stuff in the hopper. We're playing a lot of games with you guys lately, in the forum. So if you're looking for games to play on weekends and weeknights, just keep poking in the forum or make sure you join the FRC or the Geeknights Steam groups because there's been a lot going on. A lot of good Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I haven't really been playing too much Counter. I played Counter-Strike once, but I've been playing
it some more since then.
I've actually been playing Civ 4 and sucking ass, but I've actually, put a little bit of effort into learning to suck less ass. And mostly it's just because I want to play Civ 5, and I'm pretty sure Civ 4 is definitely flawed for me.
But the skills will transfer over.
I hope that the lessons I learn will transfer. So
at least if not the military stuff, things like have an economy.
Yeah, I pretty much figured out what a lot of the problem is that there's just so many things that have, effects, and you can't really, they're not all out in front of you simultaneously. So it's hard to keep track of all of them, this gives me plus on that, and this gives me percentage minus on that. And how you can't keep them all in your brain at once. So you really just need to look at what your problem area is and then be able to find something to fix that problem. And then that causes another problem. And then, fix that one and balance them all out that way. If you try to actually keep the whole game in your brain at once, you're just going to fail. I don't think it's possible.
I don't know.
You're going to keep the effects of every single technology you have, every single improvement you have, every single position of every single population point, working on a spot. Every single military unit you've got in their health.
The only thing I don't keep immediate track of in all my cities is where stuff's allocated in terms of what resources is working.
And then you could turn a guy into a scientist, or you can do so many possible things to keep track of your tax levels, your civics, your religions,
I keep track of all that. Like I said, the only thing I don't keep track of is if I have a stack of units, I consider it an army. Mm-hmm. And I don't worry about the individuals within it. And I don't keep track of what is working what around a city. Instead, I'll use the buttons that say things like optimize for population growth or optimize for shields.
Yeah, and look,
everything else,
where are those buttons? You open up the big city screen.
Bottom right.
Right? And down bottom right, there's these little tiny buttons in a cluster. There's a whole bunch of there's a lot of freaking buttons.
Yeah, you gotta get used to those.
There's a lot of shit going on. A whole lot. Anyway. So today we're going to talk about bidding games.
Yes,
and games that have bidding mechanics.
We're talking about Nerd NYC, and the recess is awesome, but as are the monthly gaming nights that we're at pretty much every one of them. They're on Fridays at this awesome, Think Wine Bar Coffee House.
Yeah, it's Think Coffee, but it has non-coffee. So basically a bidding game is a game that involves bidding, you auction stuff off. And there are plenty of games that have bidding mechanics. Even Monopoly has auctions, technically, even though no one uses them. And we've talked about games on the show before, like Power Grid and Amon-Ra, that have bidding parts. Like in Power Grid, you bid for the power plants, and then you play Power Grid, but you don't bid for anything else. But there are games out there, right, that are pretty much just bidding or almost all bidding, and that's it. All you do is bid on things, and that's the whole game. Especially like there's the famous Rainer Knizia auction trilogy of modern art, Medici, and Ra. We've talked about Ra, which is mostly kind of bidding, sort of. It's the bidding slot machine.
Yep. Well, it's weird because this night, playing these weird bidding games, which we played kind of randomly because we needed stuff to do after we played a whole bunch of Dominion. Mm-hmm. Those are some good Dominion games.
Dude, there should be some bidding cards in Dominion, like a bidding thing. Like
man, suddenly there's the province bid. Some sort of thing where you play this card, now there's an auction for a province, but you might not get it.
Yeah, everyone uses the money. Whoever has the most money in their hand right now gets a province.
I don't know about that. Maybe we just add money to the game.
I don't know. Real money.
Yeah.
Whoever gives everyone bid real money. The amount you bid, you must give that amount to every other player. So if I bid $1, I have to give $1 to each other player. Whoever bids the most gets a province.
But it was weird because we played these like fun bidding games because they were quick. But as a result of playing them, I remembered old games that we completely forgotten about, like Pizarro and Web of Power wasn't a bidding game, but we played it at the same time we played Pizarro.
Yeah, Web of Power is not a bidding game.
It's a good game.
I don't remember enough.
I liked it. You hated it, but you were undefeated at it.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the games we played to get that out of the way. So the one we played is For Sale, which is a really, it was simple and kind of fun. But I don't know how long it would last in terms of replay
I'm
value.
definitely, however, I think I'm going to buy it because it's a great game to whip out with some noobs, or to whip out like where you're waiting in line somewhere because you can play it quick. It doesn't have a lot of pieces. Or whip out like at a convention if you're teaching people stuff.
So basically the way For Sale works is pretty much just bidding, but it's 2 stages, right? So everyone starts with some money, and you use the money to buy property, and all the properties are auctioned off. And then you use the properties to bid for checks for money. So you basically buy properties with your starting money, and then you sell the properties for other money, and then you add your leftover starting money that you didn't use to buy properties to your ending money, and you win. So it's like you auction, and then you auction what you auctioned, and what you bought in the first auction becomes your what you used to buy stuff in the second auction.
Because you can't just make a straight direct bidding game, because Pizarro, as I recall, was pretty much that. You all bid, then you all bid again, and then you count your victory points.
Yeah, so how do you win Pizarro? You just bid on the best possible things.
Basically every time, because I was undefeated at that game, I just bought Magellan every time, and he got me so many points, I always won, and no one really beat me in the bidding. It was stupid.
Yeah, well, I guess it's because, if anyone bid more than that, right, then they would have had Magellan, sure, but they also would have lost because they bid too much.
I think it was more that a lot of the people we were playing with were not that great at board games.
Well, yeah.
Because I noticed that we tended to dominate back then. We don't dominate as much among ourselves in the crew as we did against those people.
No, not at all. But I did, I believe I won a Dominion pretty strongly.
Yep. I won the first round of this game, but here's the trick. For Sale's really fun. Like, I'd recommend it. It's cheap, I'm sure. It's got to be cheap. I wouldn't buy it if it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, I would pay $20 at most.
But the cool thing about it is that it's not like it's a bidding game technically, but really it's a game of chicken.
Yeah.
Because the cool mechanic is that the second half is just a blind simultaneous bid with the stuff that you bid on at the first half. Mm-hmm. But the first half, so I start the bidding. So there's, a property out there, or a check, or, a property, yeah, might have some value between, 1 and 30, I think. So I have, say 15 money. I can bid 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. The next person has to either beat the bid that I put out or pass. Now, if you pass, you're out of the bidding completely.
And you take the shittiest property that is still available.
So you take the crappiest property. If you had already bid something, you pay half of what you would bid and keep the rest.
So, for example, let's pretend it's 2-player, right? Pretend it's 3-player. A, B, Scott, Rim, and Emily, right? And there's 3 properties. Their value is 1, 5, and 10. I bid 1,000. Rim bids 2,000. Emily says she's out, so she gets the number 1 for free. Rim bid 2. I'm going to upbid Rim. I'm going to go for 3, right?
I bid 5,000.
He bids 5. I'm out.
All right, I pay 2,000 and I take the second lowest.
No, I'm out. So I
pay.
Passing. Yes, I'm out. So I pay half of what I bid. So I bid 3, remember? So half of 3 rounded down is what? 1? right? So I pay 1 and I take the second lowest.
But then I am forced to take the highest one and pay my full bid.
Yeah, so he pays 5. So I got, he pays everything. The winner has to pay every single thing that they've bid. But the losers only have to pay half of what they have bid. So the way to win is to basically get really good properties by only paying half and forcing someone else to pay the full amount for whatever. That way they don't have enough money to buy more good stuff. And that's pretty much what it comes down to.
So it's really chicken more so than bidding. The second half is really bidding, but if you've played games like Euchre or Bridge or anything like that, if you can count cards and keep track of like who bid on what and how much money they have, then you can basically play the game perfectly.
And how much money people have is just open, and you can memorize what properties everyone got. So, and that's for sale. It's pretty much it. It's just 2 rounds of bidding, 1 and then 2, and then that's it.
It's a fun game. We whipped it out. We played it a couple times. And then after we played Dominion, we were looking for something to do, and we decided with the same guy to play Claus Tuber's Hoity Toity. Now,
Hoity Toity was like a game I had heard of. It's pretty famous, right?
We got to talk more about the people, like the designers.
It won the
of
Spiel
our
des
games.
Jahres in 1990.
Yeah, because we do that with the anime, and we don't do it as much with the board games. I think it's just as important. Klaus Tuber also made Settlers of Catan.
I think it's Klaus Teuber.
I'm saying Tuber.
Okay. Yeah,
Klaus.
he made Hoity Toity before he made Settlers. It won the Spiel des Jahres. It was a very popular game.
Hoity Toity is a game where the rich people decide what to do with their money and show off their things to other rich people.
Yeah, it's basically a racing game. You're trying to race around this track to get to the victory area where you win. And you're buying these different antiques, and then you buy antiques and then you exhibit them in castles, and then you basically move forward by exhibiting your collections of antiques. But you have to buy them, and you have to steal them from other people. You have to steal people's money, and there's a whole thing going on.
It's tough. You basically play paper, rock, scissors, and then you play paper, rock, scissors again.
Yeah, it's sort of a bracket of rock, paper, scissors, right? So basically every turn there's a round of rock, paper, scissors, but it's not rock, paper, scissors. It's a sort of rock, paper, auction house or castle. So everyone picks auction house or castle. Okay. Then the people who did auction house, they either pick bid money or thief. And then, so all those people do that. And then all the people pick castle, pick either...
exhibit, thief, detective.
Exhibit, thief, detective. So there's a rock, paper, scissors going on over there. And then you just keep doing this, tree of rock, paper, scissors is over and over again until someone wins.
Now, I don't think it's worth explaining the details of it. I mean,
No.
it's a fun game. I would actually say it's another game that if you're like really into board games, you'd probably want to keep it around. It's a good game to play with like newbies or play it once, teach people about bidding and stuff, but doesn't have a lot of staying power.
Yeah, I don't think it has much staying power at all. The big problem I had with the game is that having a big momentum in the game is really powerful. If you get a whole bunch of the antiques, then pretty much no one can stop you.
Well, at the same time, if you have all the antiques, and you're already ahead, the only way to win
is to
you have
exhibit.
to push at the end.
You have to
and
exhibit.
As soon as you exhibit, everyone's basically going to thief you.
Yeah.
Steal all your stuff, and now you don't have a big hand to win the game at the end, and then it's not a completely simple game. It's still solvable, but it's not like dead simple.
Yeah, the big problem is that, okay, you have basically this branch of 2, and then one branch goes to 2 more, and the other branch goes to 3. But a lot of times you look at someone's situation, where they are on the board, right, what they have in their hand, and most of those choices are ruled out. If you have a whole bunch of antiques, there's pretty much no reason to go to the auction house. You're going to go to the castle. And if you go to the castle and you're in the way behind, you're best off being the detective or the thief. And if you're way ahead, there's almost no reason to be the detective.
But there's also no reason to be the thief.
There's also no reason to be the thief.
reason to be the exhibitor. That's where the game is.
Yeah, so it's pretty obvious what someone's going to do because, okay, you can do that and you're going to get screwed. You can do that, but it's going to be useless to you. You're only going to, you're in first place. You pick the detective. Congratulations. You move 1 forward, 1 space. Big deal.
Which means really the only way to win is to play smartly to a degree, but every time decisions are, remotely arbitrary, or anytime other players might try to second guess you, you just need to openly and randomly decide what you're going to do.
I think playing randomly is a good choice. The problem is, if you play randomly, you're going to end up picking combinations that do nothing for you. You'll pick, if you just go...
No, you don't play, you do randomly in terms of, all right, am I going to exhibit or thief? Like, you narrow it down to, like, the two options that would both be reasonable decisions, and then you go randomly.
Yeah.
But then
the game
Citadels has the same problem. It's not a game. It's just who put the poison in the cup, and there's no way to answer that question.
My biggest problem in the game was I started off pretty strong, but then I had 4 useless turns in a row because I tried to do the only useful thing I could do, and I didn't win when I went to bid in the auction house, and then so I exhibited, which is right, and then I couldn't possibly win at exhibiting because I had less, prop antiques than everyone else. So I uselessly exhibited, and I was thiefed, even though my exhibiting was useless, and then I didn't have enough. So exhibiting was not even an option anymore. And because exhibiting wasn't an option, I couldn't get any more properties. And
one thing I do like, though, is that this game has a lot of mechanics where, there's a game where someone asks, like, well, what do you do if you run out of cards? Then the answer is always like, oh, you reshuffle. The answer to every question like that in Hoity Toity is fuck you.
Yep.
It's like, what do you do if no one has any more money? You're fucked. No one has any more money, and that's the end of it. Play the rest of the game, jerks.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, like, if you do a thief and they get detective, you still get to steal something, but the thief goes away temporarily. So my thieves, because thieving was the best option I had, I did it, and I did it again, and I successfully thieved twice, and then I didn't have any thieves, so a whole option was removed from me. But that was still the best option for me to do because I didn't have that many properties.
See, I was doing really well. Like when we played, I had a runaway game for the beginning.
Me too. I was running away. I was in first place like the whole beginning, and then before I had the 4 useless turns.
Yep, and then I was in first place all after that until the fateful moment where I had to choose randomly because I had 2 arbitrary options, and everyone else chose the thief and stole my entire collection, and then I had no recourse for the rest of the game.
Yep.
I just detective every round because there was nothing else I could do.
Yeah. I think a good strategy might just be to hang back, just play casually, don't try to do anything strong, and then just come on strong in the end with exhibiting and such. Don't go for it early because you're just gonna ruin the rest of your. If you fail early, there's no way to come back. But if you fail at the end, you'll still be ahead and you can get somewhere.
But in general, I like bidding as a mechanic in games. I always have. I love like Dune's bidding for combat, the blind bid with the troops. I love that shit. Or like Amun-Re. It is a game and there's all this other stuff, but if you're smart and you understand Amun-Re and you've played the sub game
how much
optimally,
do you give to the gods?
It pretty much just is really a bidding game.
Sacrifice to your god.
Oh my god, I want to play some Amun-Re, something fierce.
Good game.
Love that game.
Very good game. Yeah, I think the thing with bidding games that makes them so fun is that it's not, in a lot of games, even look at something as great as Puerto Rico, right? It's your turn. Let's say you're playing freaking, 5-player Puerto Rico. You've got all possible choices of jobs out there on the right. That's like an 8-way choice. That's pretty good. But in a bidding game, you've actually usually got like this whole range of choices, right? Like I could bid $1, $2, $3, $4,
now,
$5.
sometimes some games that's stupid.
It is, but
I guess it adds a lot of psychology. Like you have all these options and everyone else has these options and everyone's kind of playing simultaneously with this very like direct competition. Like what was the guy with Moz who you'd always mess with? I'll be the guy in a bidding game. I'll bid 2.
3.
5.
6.
Fuck. 8.
9.
Fine, just take it. Fuck.
All right.
I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it actually, it makes something that's pretty hard to think about, right? You have to actually it's not just a choice between like, well, A and B. It's actually a difficult decision. Like, how many dollars is that worth to me? These dollars, I could get X victory points with them if I use them for this. But I could get X victory points if I use it for that.
How many dollar victory points is it worth to my opponent? I might want to bid very high and harm myself to prevent the second place player from getting something that could make them win the game.
Yep.
There's so much calculus going on that I guess I feel like the games that I've liked the most are the ones that have very intense maths that I have to just like crunch through in real time. Not like games where I can plan my whole turn and then like I know what to do. But like in a bidding game where I have to plan everything in real time, like while the bidding is going on, like Scott throws me for a loop and he bids 10 on something I didn't expect. I've got to like shift my entire calculus now and make a new determination, like right then and there. It feels like a worthwhile use of the brain. Like you feel the gears churning, and I don't get that with a lot of games I play.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Power Grid, right? You can bid any number of your dollars on a new power plant.
And a bid, like if you bid one too many dollars on a power plant, that'll cost you the game.
And it's like, how do you figure out how many dollars it's worth, right? It's like, well, yes, okay, so that is the fusion power plant right there. As a minimum bid of what, 50, right? I think. So if you can get it for 50, that's sort of duh, right? Because then that's going to win you the game.
But if you get
so
it for
awesome.
63, all right, did that deny you building the last property that you'll be able to power to win the game? I mean,
yeah, it's like, should I, the guy bid 65 on it. Okay, well, obviously it's an awesome power plant. I want it. It would help me a bunch if I had it.
Will it put me to the front of the roster, thus making me move last?
If I pay $67 for it or $70 for it, will those $3 make it, be such a hurt to me that it's no longer worth it to have that awesome power plant? And then maybe, though, I don't actually want the power plant. So, but I know that if he gets it for the current bid of 55, that's too good for him. He'll win.
But then I
need to make him bid higher. But if I bid 60, will he actually bid 61, or will he realize that me paying 60 will fuck me,
or am I
and
bidding,
him paying 61 will fuck him? And
am I bidding on a power plant I don't want because I want another power plant, but I didn't get to start the bidding, but if I pass, I'm out forever.
And I won't be able to buy any power plants.
Yeah.
There's a lot of clever decisions to make when there is an auction situation.
It's also just the directness of it. I love direct competition in games. I mean, I had this whole stint, I think we both did, where we really played a lot of indirect competition games. But I come back to really enjoying games where I can be like, Scott, I am destroying your troops in Cappadocia.
Think about like an auction in real life, right? You go to Christie's. Right. So you go to that kind of auction and the guy's got a cow, right? And you're like, I need a cow. And you say, well, it's really easy to figure out whether you should bid for the cow, right? It's like I have X dollars. The cow will make me X dollars in milk and meat and whatever. So I should pay, I'll have this much cost in cow food and barn whatevers. So therefore, that cow is this good a cow. It's worth X dollars to me. So you bid that X dollars. You try, you bid, you slowly bid up until you reach that limit of what you're willing to pay. And if it goes above that, you stop. And that you let someone else take the cow. And it's real simple. But imagine it if you add just a little bit of rules to that. Like, okay, here's 3 cows. You can get one of them. You can't have all 3, right? And suddenly it's real tough, right? It's not a simple calculation as, how much money do I have? How much is it worth? Kind of thing. It's, oh shit, which one do I want? I need to get the most cow for the least money. And there's these restrictions. What do I do? Oh no.
But if I get the cow now, I can't afford the cowbell.
Yep.
So I'll leave you all with some parting advice. This has gone on long. I guess we can end it. If you're playing a bidding game with incremental bidding, like Power Grid is the best example, and you're playing against people who don't listen to Geeknights, and you want to win. You want to win the game. Your strategy is simple. Calculate, if you can, as early as possible before any bidding starts, the absolute maximum you are going to pay for something. And know that and keep it in your mind. But don't bid anything like that right away. Basically, always immediately pull a Scott and increment the bid by 1, just like 7, 9, 11, 13. But just keep doing that, and you'll exude this sense of confidence, and you'll probably intimidate people into backing off of the bidding.
Or you'll intimidate them into be like, they'll be like, I'll play your game, and they'll bid way more.
And if they get above what
and
you're
they'll just hurt
to pay,
themselves by bidding too much.
You'd already planned, that was the most you were going to play. You just bail, and then they're fucked.
Yep.
So that's it. If you are able to do that consistently, unless other people also do that, you will win the majority of bidding games you play.
You've also got to take into account sometimes special things. Like in For Sale, you have that dividing by half thing.
Yep.
So always bid an odd number. There's no reason to bid an even number ever.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It amazed me how many even numbers still got bid.
I know. People I didn't figure it out until the second game.
Yeah. Well, the first game you ran out of money. The second game I ran out of money, but I was assuming the noob was going to fuck up. And then he didn't fuck up, and then I lost all my money.
Anyway. All right, bidding games are cool.
Just like Miles Davis. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Bidding games. Bidding games.
You're just going to cut that all out.
Bidding games.
All right.
Games whereupon you bid on items that may or may not be converted into tokens that will claim victory for you. I think
if I didn't drink all my water, I would have scored you with it.